What's up? This is Ryan with One Board Family, and today I'm reviewing the card game Tacta from the Op. This one was designed by Jason Tremblay, and it's a game that our family absolutely adores. This one is a lot of fun, and it creates an amazing display of cards by the time you finish the game. The game plays 2 to 12 players in a couple different configurations, which I'll talk about later in this video, but the basics of the game are pretty straightforward. Mastering those basics is a lot harder as you play against the opponents at the table. Just a heads up that this game was provided to us by the Op so that we could do video coverage and other gaming coverage for this game. Thank you to the Op. So how do you play Tacta? Players are going to get a single deck of 18 cards in their player color, whether it's blue, green, yellow, purple. You're going to get a deck of these 18 cards, and each of the cards has a number and number of dots on them. So the one card has 1 dot showing, while this number 6 card has 6 dots that are showing. These dots are extremely important because at the end of the game, you want to be able to peer back from the table and see as many dots on your cards as possible. Each of those dots equals 1 victory point at the end of the game. Each turn, players are going to play a card either from the top or bottom of the deck that they're holding. Those are the only 2 cards that you have access to, and you can't ever shuffle through your cards or look for a specific number card. You're going to have to play one of those 2 cards to the display in the middle of the table and cover up an opponent's points, place it into an empty space, or if there's no possible way to play, playing it in an open area on the table. The game plays so smooth and it's so easy to teach. Players just have to be able to match up shapes so that they can play their card and make sure that they're not overlapping onto another card, playing it illegally, or going off the edge of the play surface that you're playing on. This is interesting because this puzzle means that the play area that you are playing on may dictate how difficult the game is. Take, for instance, I'm playing at this long table here, which might be perfect for 6, 8, or 12 players. Players are going to find lots of space to play their cards into, but if you're playing on a smaller surface, maybe a coffee table or a smaller table at a cafe, the game gets insurmountably harder as you have more players, which is part of the charm of this game. Players have to be able to place their card into the play space without hanging over the edge of the table. One of the things that we've done is, for a 4-player game, we play a lot of times on this mat right here that we have from Felt Tectors. Shout out to Felt Tectors for sponsoring this video review. Felt Tectors has these really nice neoprene playmats. This is a 3mm playmat that we've been using for a couple months, and we really enjoy it. This is a, I think, 46 by 32 inch playmat. This is just one configuration that they have on their website. But what this has afforded us is shortening the play area so that when we play Tacta, it's just a little more difficult as we play at this large table. As players play their cards, they have to make sure that it doesn't overhang this playmat in order for it to be a legal play. Again, shout out to Felt Tectors for sponsoring this video review. Tacta is such an easy game to teach, but because it's a spatial reasoning game, it's a game that's very hard to master, especially for some players. Some people may not be into spatial reasoning games, and they may find it a little harder to kind of see the open spaces on the table. But once you start to see the open spaces and where you can strategically play your cards, this game really opens up. I've really enjoyed how strategic it is just to simply lay a card down into the display of cards that are in the center of the table. Now, this display of cards continues to grow and grow turn after turn, and what ends up happening is this beautiful neon blob in the center of the table that everybody's like, this is really pretty to look at. It's such a beautiful game and brings people to the table just because they see how it's being played and they're like, oh, what is that you're playing over there? Tacta is more than a pretty game on a table. The way that these cards are designed there are a couple different ways and variants that you can play in Tacta. There is a simultaneous play variant that's in the rulebook where players are playing fast and furious all at one time. It's insane chaos, but if you like real-time games, that might be your speed. There are team games, which I've personally loved. You can play up to 12 players, splitting the deck and allowing players to take 9 cards of one color, sitting across from their teammate and placing cards into the display as a team trying to accumulate the most points. There are even more variants inside the rulebook that you can check out, and more variants that are coming soon from the op. In fact, I've played one of those variants that is a solitaire mode that is really, really fun. It's an incredible puzzle, and I'm super thankful that I got to play it. Thank you, Jason, for sharing that design with me. It's really cool, and I can't wait till they share it. Now, as much as I love Tacta and have had fun with this game over the past couple of months, the biggest hindrance to the game is actually counting points when you finish a game. Everybody has to count the number of dots that are on their player cards that are in the center of the table. It is an overwhelming number of dots when you're playing with 4, 5, or 6 players. If you're playing with teams, everybody is with a teammate and you're trying to calculate points. Everybody's getting different numbers because you essentially miss a card somewhere along the way. Tacta is a very tough game to score, and we actually have some tips that have helped us as we've scored this game over the past couple of months. Our first tip is actually covering up part of the play area and trying to count going left to right or right to left, trying to count it out almost in a grid format, sometimes sectioning it off and looking at it as quadrants as you try to calculate how many dots are showing. Another way that we've done it is a friend of ours actually took their phone, took a picture of it, the whole board, and then on their phone made dots for every one of their dots, counting as they went to make sure that they calculated all of the dots in their color. A friend of ours got so desperate that they actually took a picture of it, asked ChatGPT to calculate the number of points, and that AI system failed miserably, giving him a completely wrong number of points for every card that was on the table. My personal favorite is actually bringing up a calculator on my phone and calculating 18 different numbers. Even the card that is fully covered, I'm counting that at as zero. So I know that I've counted all 18 of my cards. Now, when you play with larger groups, you may want to decrease the number of cards so that it makes counting just a little easier. We've taken out like one set of player colors cards so that each player only gets 12 cards instead of 18 in a 5 or 6 player game, just to make it a little more manageable, counting scores at the end. That is my biggest gripe with this game. It is very hard to calculate your points accurately without recounting over and over and over and getting a slightly different number. Tacta screams, I need an app when you get to calculating points. It would be amazing for, similar to a game like Far Shuffle, where you take an app on your phone, you take a picture of it, and it actually scores the number of points based on player colors in a well-lit space, obviously. This is the hardest part of the game, is calculating your points at the end, but it honestly doesn't hinder the amazing time that we've had playing Tacta as a family. We've introduced this in a lot of different areas, and every time people are like, man, that's a really cool concept. That's a really cool game. I'm very excited to see the future of Tacta. Just a heads up that Tacta, you will be seeing me talk more about Tacta toward the end of this year because I love this game so much. Tacta has a bright future, and I'm excited about what variants and rule sets are going to be coming in the future from the op and Jason Tremblay and other designers who may be having input into this property. Tacta is a lot of fun. It's available at your game store right now, or you can follow one of the links in the description to find a copy of Tacta, whether it be from Amazon or from the op's web store. Now, if you like what you saw here, be sure to like and subscribe to this video. And if you want more board game content, be sure to check out oneboardfamily.com. We've got tons, hundreds and hundreds of reviews of games for the entire family. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.